Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Miller. I'm the Executive Director and the founder of FemArt Gallery, Inc. We are a 501c3, a nonprofit, and what we do is we support women artists and we promote them, and we are trying to make the world a better place with women's artwork. So today we are interviewing an incredible artist who has been with FemArt probably for the past 2.5 years, and almost since our beginning in 2017. Her name is Bronwen Chandler, and she is fascinating, and we want you to know a little bit more about her. So we are going to be asking her a couple of questions to give you a little bit more insight on her perspective and her creative ways. So we're going to start off by welcoming you, Bronwen, and also asking you what inspires you to do art, and how do you get in the mindset to do your artwork?
Okay, I appreciate you inviting me to this session. And what inspires me is, I'd really say at this time, just a lot of things inspire me because there's so much beauty around us. And I've learned to appreciate that and recognize it, and I'll often look at something and think, there's a painting there, and I have my camera around always. Either I take it with me purposely, or we have good cameras in our cell phones, so I like to capture things that I think might be of interest for future paintings. And so I just find inspiration everywhere, really. Sometimes it's about the light, sometimes it's about the scenery, and so it's just a fascinating thing, really. And if you become observant and really look at what's around you, you can see beauty in so many things.
Bronwen, I love that answer. And actually, you brought up a really good perspective about artists in general, and something that I think a lot of people that I've spoken to have not understood about artists. And that is, they think that we just pick up a brush and create out of our memory or out of our imagination. And they think that is what an artist does. But you bring up a good point, that you take your camera or your phone and you capture things that are inspirational, which is fabulous. And I think that's what a lot of people really need to understand more about artists. We don't just paint from our imaginations. We actually have other tools, and the camera is very important. So that was a very good point. I like that. And another question that I would like to ask you is about the influence and impact of your artwork locally. And then I will ask you a follow-up question to that. But how do you think your artwork being seen here in Jacksonville, Florida, how do you think that relates to cultivating a better society? How do you think that helps our culture?
Well, I would hope that the things that I choose to paint in this area, because I love painting, there are a lot of beautiful things here. The wetlands, and just there are many parks and great places to be and to paint. And I hope that it would inspire people to really look, to really see what they're looking at. I mean, I think some people are not as appreciative or maybe as observant, and they might miss some things. And I hope that the scenes that I capture will help bring that to their notice, and that they will learn to appreciate what we have. At the moment, I'm mostly painting locally, but at times I've painted in other countries, and so that's what I would hope people would get from looking at my work, because I am a landscape painter. So I use what's around me to inspire me to paint.
I love that. And you also brought up a good point, that you actually observe your environment around you here in Jacksonville, Florida, and you paint locally. and you are seeing things a little differently than a lot of people who live here their entire life. Are you originally from Jacksonville?
No, I'm from New Zealand, and when I was growing up, I lived in a city, but within my view, there were hills on the east side of the city, lovely rolling hills, and to the west, there was a mountain range that was you could see from the city. And so I really appreciated what I could see on a daily basis. And I think that's where it all began
Very
in
nice.
New Zealand.
And so we have addressed the local influences and everything, but this show that you're going to be in, called Where the Wild Women Go with FemArt, we are going to have our first virtual show. So it's going to be seen globally all over the world and even in New Zealand. So how do you think your art, your local art, will have an impact globally? And what do you think your work has to say about you globally?
Okay, well, my first thought is that if people in other countries are looking at the art and they're recognizing that it's coming from our local area, it will open their eyes to what's here. And I think because I chose a beach scene because I happened to be at the beach when we had a northeaster blasting away, and the Atlantic Ocean on our coastline is usually pretty calm, and I have seldom seen waves like I saw that particular day. And so it will open people's eyes to what can happen around Northeast Florida. So even if you live in New Zealand, you know, you can appreciate that we have some pretty nice beaches.
I like that. And yes, we do have some really nice beaches here in Jacksonville. So that actually brings up that by you showing through your artwork some of the beauty here in Jacksonville, it may increase tourism in Jacksonville, and people from New Zealand or from Europe or the Middle East, anywhere in the world, they may want to come to the United States for a visit, and Jacksonville will be very appealing because of your artwork. So I think Jacksonville should be very appreciative to have you as an artist locally. That is
Well,
really
I hope so.
so. And for my final question, I've been asking all the artists what they would prefer to drink before getting ready to put the paint on the canvas or the film, preparing to develop film. And I asked if you would prefer, or what I would like to ask you is what you would prefer, a cup of tea or a glass of wine?
Well, I think the cup of tea would win out over the glass of wine. I might feel like a glass of wine after I finish painting, but when I'm starting up, in fact, I have a cup of tea right here now, and I love my tea, and I almost always drink tea while I'm painting.
Oh, I love it. Well, I would like to say cheers to you, Bronwen Chandler. And
I'll say cheers right back.
thank you so much. And thank you for joining us with FemArt. I am sure everyone is looking forward to seeing your artwork in our upcoming virtual show, Where the Wild Women Go. And here's to you, a wild and wonderful Bronwen Chandler. Thank you.
Thank you so much.